Greetings, children of the screen. Your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here once again, coming at you with another edition of What You Mean You Ain't Seen, and tonight I am joined by...
Bree.
I'm Logan.
Guys, I've got two words
Yep.
that are going to completely redefine our evening's entertainment. Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you're ready. You don't look ready.
Debatable.
You don't look ready.
Hold on.
Okay. David Cronenberg. What you mean you ain't seen The Fly? God damn it! Fuck!
I love the Cronin man.
God bless you, Canada.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
The Fly, released originally in 1986, rated R, coming in at 96 minutes. It's classified as horror, drama, and science fiction, directed by David Cronenberg, with a screenplay written by Charles Edward Prague and David Cronenberg, starring Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis, and John Getz. It's also worth noting here that in 1987, the film won an Academy Award for Best Makeup. That's right, guys, The Fly, David Cronenberg's unarguable masterpiece, which follows Seth Brundle, a scientist, as he reveals his new invention and discovery to Gina Davis's character. They become romantically involved, and then it turns into a horrible, disgusting, beautifully awesome body horror epic.
Beautifully awesome.
Indeed.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Oh, God, it was amazing. You know, I love practical effects, so it's like the best of the best, and it was incredible. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, super good. I thought we were gonna get just some kind of monster movie. Like I've seen little bits of this before, but it wasn't that at all.
No.
It was really good.
No, it's a David Cronenberg movie.
Yeah.
So it's got all that in it and more.
Yeah.
More.
Oh, yeah, a lot more.
God bless you, Canada.
I think you're making a mistake. I think you really want to talk to me.
Sorry, I have 3 other interviews to do before this party's over.
Yeah, but they're not working on something that'll change the world as we know it.
They say they are.
Yeah, but they're lying.
There is a limit, even to the imagination, where our greatest creations meet our deepest fears. You are about to go beyond that limit.
Alright, guys, what was your favorite thing out of David Cronenberg's The Fly?
Mine is when he has his, final evolution into Brundlefly or whatever, when Ronnie rips his jaw
And, the
off.
climax of the movie?
Yeah, and he, totally changes.
And basically, we're no longer dealing with Jeff Goldblum. We've got, the puppet.
Yeah. The best part overall. His face is falling off, and it looks so good and real and weird, and yeah, it was really good.
It definitely works.
Yeah,
Weirdo.
Yeah.
No, it's the best part.
It really does work, and the puppet is fantastic. It's a very complex puppet.
Yeah, so much so that I thought it was a person in a suit.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's actually multiple puppets to do different things and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's they have a head puppet for whenever he's puking on home dude's foot.
Yeah,
and then later on, whenever you become the whole thing, it's one of the reasons why this movie won the Academy Award for effects is that one thing, that whole last 10 minutes probably has more effects in it than not today, because today everything is digital, but at the time this movie came out, that one 10 minutes probably has more effects than the biggest budget action movies or sci-fi movies at the time.
Yeah,
you know?
they really pulled out all the stops.
Yeah, it's crazy, and that sequence is super good. And the Academy Award is definitely deserved for this movie, because again, that last 10 minutes is full of effects, but this whole movie is I think you maybe have two or three scenes in the beginning of the movie where there are very little effects, and then gradually, some of them you're just talking about a very light changing of makeup on someone so you can show the progression of them changing. But after that point, this is definitely an effects movie.
Yeah.
The effects in the movie are fantastic all the way through, in the arm wrestling scene, whenever they do the arm break, it's such a simple effect, but it's executed so well, and the combination of the sound effect and just the ramping up of the scene, you just it works so good.
So I thought he would I definitely knew he was gonna break something, but I thought it'd be his elbow when he hits the table, or his hand would break when he hits the table, but not right there at the forearm during the thing. It's
rough.
And then of course the Brundle Museum of Natural History cannot go ignored. Just all the remnants of that stuff, and again, that's actually so brilliant too, because when he first discovers the fingernails, he's in the bathroom, and like that's where he keeps it. And even though you're dealing with this movie about a guy turning into a fly, that's a very relatable moment for a lot of people out there. It's a very private, personal moment of being in the bathroom, like getting ready for something, or having just gone to the bathroom, and like realizing that there's something wrong with your body. Mm-hmm. And like the horror of that. So by like putting it in that familiar setting, despite the fact that we're already so far out of the realm of the normal, really helps ground like all those effects. Because even if it's like a minor thing, like we can all on some level relate to a similar experience of just, even if it's just like looking at yourself in the mirror and it being so different from the way you think of yourself in your head. Like we can all relate to it on some level. So it really works. And a lot of the effects in this movie are grounded in ways that like emotionally tie you to the moment and really help sell the effects. Also, the way that they have him crawling on the ceiling.
I was trying to figure that one out. It was pretty, like, I feel like it got it, but yeah. That was
and it's actually crafty. It's like a really old trick actually that they did in the old Fred Astaire movie where he dances on the ceiling. They literally just built the set on a big rotating wheel, and so then like he's literally always on the ground, but the room is spinning. And then they have, like, Gina Davis off screen, and then when we cut to her, it's actually just in the set, you know? And there's, like, 1 or 2 shots of her head as he moves, where it's just a stand-in's head. And, like, yeah, like,
that's dope.
It's really cleverly done, and, of course, like, they had to, like, fix all the dishes and everything upside down, like, so they wouldn't come down and stuff.
Mention they're holding a camera, I guess, like
the camera's actually also in its own like it's in its own casing that can also spin, so that way like they can move with him or opposite to him and stuff like that. Because Cronenberg is one of the directors who he plans everything, but then when he gets to set, he kind of throws that away to a certain extent and just kind of goes with what feels right. Like he's like, we planned it to hell and back, so now let's just see what happens. So yeah, he wanted to have a lot of room to work with it. And I also, we'll get more to this when we get to my favorite thing, but like Jeff Goldblum really sells all the makeup. Like he sells the pain and like the wonder also of like the moments where he's like buying into his own like hype even after he's completely malformed and just like all looking like the Elephant Man and shit. But
because you can see it in like his eyes and stuff. He's like, like
absolutely.
Very, you know, you get like what he's doing.
Yes, absolutely. And also like it's not as big an effect because it's really just a body swap, but like they also hid the stunt double very, very well for Jeff Goldblum. Even though like the double is much smaller than Jeff Goldblum is, they managed to match it up very, very well. So there's also a really great, like, this movie is one of the movies, this and Dead Ringers are the 2 movies that David Cronenberg used to pioneer what is like still the modern day method of like what do you call it, rotoscoping visual effects, where basically you have the camera like programmed to move in a certain way, and then you do that same shot multiple times, and then change elements inside of the shot in order to like then put them together and create an effect, which is how they do like the things disappearing from the telepod. So you know, you do one shot with the monkey there, and then you do one shot without the door, so you get a good image of the light and all the effects and stuff. You have the smoke come out, and then you do another shot where there's just no monkey but with the door and all that. And then you film it multiple times and combine them all. And so, like, this is one of those movies that, like, not only are the effects good, but it also pioneered new effects that changed what future movies were able to do. So, that last 10 minutes you pointed out is fantastic, but I have to say that, like, this movie, in my opinion, is one of the best effects movies. I'd put it right up there with, like, John Carpenter's The Thing, in terms of just, like, effects that blow you away, and no matter how old the movie is, they still look fantastic, and the movie still feels real and visceral because of it. And as for you, sir?
Well, I said, I thought it was just going to be like a plain old monster horror movie, which is kind of boring, especially nowadays, but it was actually super engaging, which completely, like, it took me right off, like we were talking about with the effects, just insane. Like, especially every time you see it, it catches your attention, and then Jeff Goldblum, insane.
Absolutely awesome,
really good.
Gina Davis just writing, knocks it out of the park.
Like, goddamn.
Even the guy, home dude who plays Staffus Barnes is just really great in the movie.
It's just whole way through engaging.
It is.
Even, like, the very slow beginning, but the build-up and, like, the suspense. Like,
yes.
The whole time, because you know what it's building to.
Right.
It was awesome.
And it really works because you get the slow burn, you really get a chance to know all the characters.
Yes.
And even though we don't actually learn that much background about the characters, we spend enough time with them that we get a sense of who they are, and they're also charming, even Stathis to a certain degree, where, like, he knows he's a sleazy scumball and kind of revels in it, and while, like, it's almost like Alex in Clockwork Orange. You don't like him, but it's fun to watch him be a dickhead.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
I mean, and with that, like, even the relationship, while it felt short, like, you could, like, you later in the movie, so much has happened that you just accept it. You're like, I get it.
They've been through a lot, yeah.
Like,
and the chemistry between Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum is palpable in the movie. Like, it's like you do sense a genuine connection, probably because they were dating in real life while they were filming this movie.
Yeah.
And it really, really helps the film.
Yeah.
So yeah, the movie is really engaging. It's also like you only have really those three main characters. So like you really like the movie really focuses you in on the important elements of the story, the characters, and the basic plot, and all the themes are just so inherent because, again, it's not one of these movies that's doing all this and trying to spread it all out. It's very focused, it's very streamlined, and it's very direct. And, like, this is what we're doing, this is the story we're telling. It is complicated to a certain degree, but at the same time, like, it is the most streamlined, simplified version of that they can, which isn't a bad thing. It's I say this is like one of Cronenberg's masterpieces, but it is also one of his most mainstream movies. Not in the sense of, like, it does get really gory and gruesome in places, but in the sense of the kind of straightforward storytelling. You know, he's not dealing with all these crazy concepts of, you know, death to like death to the flesh, long live Videodrome, and all this kind of shit. You know, there's no like Casey Jones butt fucking Voltron in the back of a car after he tries to run him over. Like, it's just, hey man, here are these characters that have real emotions and feel like real people, and now this horrible thing's gonna happen to them, and you have to go through it with them. And yeah, it's very engaging and does things that very few monster movies really manage to do.
Yeah.
And considering the fact that I am long-winded as a fuck, I am going to be splitting my favorite thing this evening between two separate elements. So number one is Jeff Goldblum, because he's a motherfucking bad pimp motherfucker, and he is, like, at his most charming and brilliant and, like, Jeff Goldblum-y.
Yeah, like, weird a little.
Yeah.
And, like, it works.
It really works. He manages to, like, get you invested in the character, and he manages to, like, you never, even at the point where he's, like, acting like a crackhead and, like, wanting to pull her through there, like, he never loses you 100%.
Yeah.
Like, and even in the end, he becomes a monster. And even though this is more about the character, but it doesn't work without Jeff Goldblum's performance. Like, at the end of the movie, whenever he's just a monster and you want it to die, and then, like, spoilers for the end of the movie here, guys, and then he, like, takes and puts the shotgun to his head. If Jeff Goldblum's performance throughout the movie had not been as good as it was,
that wouldn't have worked.
That wouldn't have worked, because you see it and you're like, fucking kill it, fucking kill it, fucking kill it, and she can't, and then it puts the thing to its head, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Because all you think of is Jeff Goldblum up there just going,
do it, dude. Yeah. So, like, his performance, I mean, and all three of our main leads in this movie are really solid, but again, like, if the other two were great and Jeff Goldblum's character didn't work, the movie wouldn't work.
Yeah.
You know, whereas I feel like the other two, they could have been a little bit off, and you still would have had a watchable movie. It wouldn't have worked like it does, don't get me wrong, because again, Gina Davis is fucking awesome, and Stathis, you the man, Stathis? Yeah, if I ever see you in real life, I'm calling you Stathis, because that's who you are, man. But yeah, like, everybody's great, but Goldblum just brings it, and he brings it all. He brings the sexiness too, just like ripped like Jesus, you know.
And that booty,
it's like Jesus Goldblum. Ripped. That's just like he's got like a 12-pack, you know. He's like, I'm a skinny nerd. No, fuck no. I'm like jacked and shit. Like, he was like the first superhero body transformation. Because yeah, before this movie, like, he was a very attractive dude, but like he really leaned up and like put on a little bit more muscle for this movie. Like in 1980s terms, this is like the difference of, like, you know, frickin' Ben Affleck bulking up to be Batman. Like, back then,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
because people just didn't really do that for movies and stuff. So yeah, like he fucking rocks it in this movie. And then the other half of my favorite thing is because it has to be just David Cronenberg, man. Like, again, he manages to take all of his, like, auteur sensibilities and themes and, like, the same color palette that he likes to use in a lot of his films, even though this one has a little bit more green saturation, which is a thing he started doing more in, like, the later 80s and through the 90s and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little bit more green saturation, but he just managed to take everything that is indicatively David Cronenberg and, like, distill it into this one movie.
Yeah.
You know? Like, we have, like, the weird pseudo-sexual, like, craziness, you know?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking that too. I think that was like one of the things. It's like, this is oddly like
Yeah.
sexual.
And then, like, bridging off of that, like, from that, and then, like, his film The Brood, which deals with, like, the fears of, like, reproduction. We got some of that going on in here. We got, like, the former boss who's, like, a stalker and is, like, sexually obsessed with home chick.
Yeah.
And then, like, you even have, like, on one level, you have on the grander level, like, the idea of, like, biology versus technology and, like, what happens to Seth Brundle in the movie, him getting fused and, like,
Yeah.
destroyed by it. But then on the other level, you have, like, all those great scenes about Seth realizing that, like, no, the computer doesn't understand a living organism, so I have to, like, teach it about what a living organism, what flesh is. And he even used, like, his David Cronenberg vocabulary for it, because
Yeah.
Seth is, like, starting to lose his shit a little bit and, like, go, like, super crazy or whatever. Super
Right.
smart crazy. But yeah, so, like, everything that is David Cronenberg is in this movie, but it's made digestible for anyone who will go see a horror movie, as opposed to the people who are like, they want to see all the fucked up shit of a horror movie, but they also want to, like, think about existential shit, you know, like most of his movies do. Like, no, it's just like, this is the David Cronenberg movie that makes people go, I need to watch more David Cronenberg, because this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Which why didn't we start with this one?
Because, like, this is, like, the pinnacle. To a large degree. There
You
are
gotta
movies
earn it.
There are movies that I like better of David Cronenberg's, don't get me wrong, but this movie, all the elements come together in a perfect way, and because it can work for more people than, say, Videodrome or Crash or any of that stuff, like, I really wanted y'all to get a sense of who he was as a director and, like, what his style was and what his sensibilities were, because I knew we were going to have this exact conversation we're having right now, where I'm like, everything that is David Cronenberg is in this, and now y'all have kind of seen his evolution to a certain extent to this point, which was, like, the pinnacle of his career as a horror director. And then, like, within the next decades, he would go into doing more, like, studio films and becoming more of a kind of legitimate mainstream director in a lot of senses. Yeah, fucking motherfucking David Cronenberg is the bomb, and he and Jeff Goldblum are my favorite things in this movie. God bless you, Canada. And I don't remember where Jeff Goldblum is from, but, like, fuck those guys, but he's awesome.
You're like the power. I feel surging inside me. I won't be able to wear you out. We'll be the perfect couple. The dynamic duo.
What do I have to say? I'm not gonna do it.
You're jealous! Drink deep or taste not the plasma spring. See what I'm saying? I'm not just talking about sex and penetration. I'm talking about penetration beyond the veil of the flesh. A deep, penetrating dive into the plasma pool.
Please, wait. What's up?
Right on, guys. So, what, if anything, didn't work for you in this one?
Just one thing kind of turned my stomach. The nightmare abortion scene.
Oh, okay, yeah, where David Cronenberg's the gynecologist.
Yeah, that's the one.
The obligatory cameo scene,
Oh,
yes.
yeah, I don't know. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
It felt straight out of a nightmare. I'm glad it was. I'm glad it wasn't real.
Yeah, I don't have a specific problem with the scene, except for maybe it goes on a little bit too long.
Ooh.
Like,
Yeah.
which is only really an issue because it looks and feels different than everything else in the movie.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it
I
kind of
mean, yeah,
slows the
it
pacing
just-
down.
Yeah, it completely comes out of nowhere, and then, like, they get, like, it feels like there's a time skip where it feels real,
Yeah.
but then it takes you a minute to figure out it's a dream.
Yes.
Which is a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
You know,
Yeah.
because, like, you go in, oh, it's a dream, but, you know, for a minute it was like, oh, shit. Like, this
We're-
is a
Yeah.
thing.
We're here. Yeah.
And I do know why it's as long as it is, and it doesn't. The dream sequence itself does serve a very important specific function, and it's the shift of the main character. Because for the most part, up until that point, our main character has been Seth, even though we've actually been seeing the movie from her point of view. Emotionally, we've been more tied to Seth. And in that moment, like, we shift for the latter end of the movie completely into her perspective.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Like, it's a strong shift too. Like, you automatically support her decisions and like
absolutely
her.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, she's pregnant, da da da. Like, you
right.
know, and stuff. But yeah. Like,
even like in the scene before where she says she's pregnant, like, we don't see her go into the bathroom and sit down. Like, we see it from someone else's point of view, and then we have to follow her. But then from that point on in the movie, we're with her.
Yeah.
You know, so it does serve a legitimate function in terms of structure and like what it's there for a reason. But it feels long and it feels like it drags, and it's like, yeah, it's, if I have to pick something, you know, she can pick this one, but she's right. I would say that one is kind of an issue as well. Anything for you, sir?
I mean, Stathis.
Yeah.
He's there. I mean,
I
get why he's there.
Yeah,
like,
and you really don't like him in the beginning of the movie, but you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
And like, I do feel that, like, you know, he's a creepy stalker dude, and we're not gonna say that that's okay, but he does kind of like earn your sympathy by the end of the movie to, like, whenever he's getting fucking melted by vomit, you do feel kind of bad for the guy.
Yeah.
And also, spoiler, he's the only one to show up in the sequel. And then you feel really bad for him for two reasons. For one, because of the state he's in, and for two, because he's in the sequel to The Fly. So, you know, that's like a double whammy.
Right.
Shit. But yeah, that just Stathis in general, though. Yeah,
just kind of. Nah.
Yeah, he's the resident douchebag. So it's like it's you know,
don't like fucking douchebags.
Yeah. Low hanging fruit. Low hanging fruit.
God.
You have to leave now, and never come back here. Have you ever heard of insect politics? Neither have I. I'd like to become the first insect politician. You see, I'd like to, but, I'm afraid,
I don't know what you're trying to say.
I'm saying I'm an insect who dreamt he was a man and loved it. But now the dream is over. And the insect is awake.
No, Seth.
I'm saying, I'll hurt you if you stay.
Right on, guys. David Cronenberg's The Fly. Would you recommend it to old people and 9-year-old girls on Sunday morning while they eat ice cream when their parents don't know they're eating ice cream, and then they drop it on the ground and then they start crying and their parents find out and you're like, it's okay, watch The Fly?
Fuck it.
Good answer.
Oh, yeah. Fuck it.
Fuck. No, yeah, it's a really good movie.
It is a really good movie. Yeah, if you're over 9 years old, you'll probably like it.
Yeah.
So 10-year-olds?
I mean, I first saw this movie whenever I was like 6, and I fucking loved it. I was down.
Yeah.
Don't show this movie to your kids. Like, don't do it. Those of you who are consenting adults of age, we highly recommend this movie. Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Super
for
duh.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Go and fucking watch it. David fucking Cronenberg. God damn it. God bless you, Canada.
David Cronenberg's The Fly. Director David Cronenberg, the man who they call Canada's Prince of Horror, joins me now. Welcome, David.
I was a Baron once. I guess I've been demoted. But anyway, yeah.
Baron, Prince, same levels. At The Fly last night, yours truly, perhaps almost in the same way as, we lost our poster here, the same way as we did in the original, I walked out upset. Not only by what happened to my favorite character, Goldblum, but by the gory, horrifying scenes I had seen. Is that success to you, I have to ask?
Well, you'll have to tell me. I mean, it is a horror film. And there are people who go for professional reasons who might not necessarily go to horror films ordinarily. They will probably have difficulty with the film. It is a horror film, but of course, as you yourself can vouch for, it is also it's a romance. It's a love story. It's very emotional. It's very passionate. It's not a gore fest. It's not a slasher movie. It's also very funny, not in a sense of parody or camp, but it's an ironic and darkly humorous film, I think, and it's not, gore is perhaps is the most spectacular aspect of it, but it's certainly not all that there is in the movie.
Well, I agreed, and I only saw half of it because of the rest of the time I was turning away with the rest of the audience. Why is that important, David, in what you're doing?
Well, it's important because I think the function of a horror film is to allow people to confront things that disturb them about life in general in a relatively safe environment. We are born to test ourselves against what will come when children test themselves in terms of society and sexuality, and later you think about things like violence and aging and disease and death and separation, and one of the arenas that you can sort of test yourself is the cinemized film.
You put it all up there on the screen for reaction.
Yeah.
This is not, though, to give you your due, the basic roller coaster ride of thrills that you get when you got a guy in a hockey mask chasing teenage girls around for a film, right?
I would say so.
Now, some people say your movies are high art. Where's your opinion in this?
I would agree with those people who say it's high art.
Right on, children of the screen. Thank you very much for joining us for another edition of What You Mean You Ain't Seen, The Fly.
Good night, guys.
Later.
Right on, guys. If you like this video, then please leave a like and all that other bullshit. Share, subscribe. You know the deal. Also, guys, we're wrapping this series up with episode 50, which is going to be Cannibal Holocaust, and you don't want to miss that. But if you want to get all caught up until then, I will have the link for the playlist in the description below. Once again, thank you very much, guys. If you want to check us out on Instagram, Twitter, we will have the links for that and all that other bullshit. It's all going to be down in the links below, so go check that shit out. You don't want to miss it. Thank you very much, children of the screen. Hope you have a good one. Nerd scum. Motherfucking out.